Hi guys, today I shall install vCenter Server Appliance on a Windows 2022 server. In my previous video I have already shown you that how to install Windows 2022 server and how to install an Active Directory on that particular Windows 2022 server, including the DNS and all these things. Now I will install VCSA, means vCenter Server Appliance, on that particular server using the domain, same domain. Okay, so uh, so what is VCSA, vCenter Server Appliance? So vCenter Server Appliance is a pre-configured virtual machine that is optimized for running vCenter Server and associated services. vCenter Server Appliance package contains the following software. vCenter Server Appliance is a pre-configured virtual machine. Why? Because it is basically it will be installed on a particular ESX server. Okay, so to install vCenter server appliances, service appliances, we need a ESXi host on which the vCenter server appliance will be installed. For this installation, the package consists of Photon OS 3.0, vCenter authentication service, PostgreSQL database. PostgreSQL database means there the user database and group database and other necessary records will be stored, and VMware vSphere Lifecycle Manager extension and vCenter Lifecycle Manager. And now one thing I want to add, vCenter server is of various types depending upon the size of the host and the number of VMs on that particular that will be installed on particular vCenter server. Like tiny is up to 10 hosts, 100 VMs. For that, hardware requires 2 CPU, 2 numbers of CPU and 12 GB RAM minimum. So in our case, we will install tiny because this is a lab environment, and due to hardware constraint, we will install the tiny one. Apart from that, small, medium, large, and extra large, the other types of environment, vCenter server appliance environment are there. So I will share you the details in my description. Okay, so let's start to install vCenter server. Okay, so vCenter server, before installing vCenter server appliances, we require at least one ESX host server on which the vCenter server will be installed. Okay, and for that we we need a specific package. So this is the package VMware vCenter. We will install the version 7. So double click on it. You will find the entire package. Okay. So vCenter server package. It is taking time. Why? I have to check. Just a minute. Start file. Again, we will open that folder, and here is the package. And double click on VCSA and UI installer, and as we will install it on Windows machine, so double click on Win32. Other than that, we have two other versions, Mac and Linux 64. So we will install on Windows 32, and double click on it, and we will find the installer. So double click on that installer. Okay. So click on install. Click on deploy vCenter server. Okay. So the installer allows to install vCenter Server 7.0. Click on next. Click on I accept to individual license agreement. Click on next. So here the ESXi host or vCenter server name. So in that case, what I can do, I can use the ESX host fully qualified domain name or the IP address, whatever you require. Because if you go to VMware ESXi 7, then you can find the if you open these in web service, or you best click on this, enter FN. I want to show you the host name and the DNS server of this. Okay, so if you can see that this is the IP address and 192.168.159.4. This is the ESXi host on which we will install VCSA, and the DNS, you can check the DNS. I have already configured the DNS here. The DNS is 192.168.159.12. That is the DNS server address of our Windows 2022 AD server. So that is actually the DNS is DNS is installed on that particular server. So this server IP address we have configured as DNS. An alternate DNS is 159.2. Okay, so that is the option, and the custom DNS suffix is techlabtechno.com, because this ESXi host belongs to this techlabtechno.com domains. So it is the member of techlabtechno.com domain. So we will install VCSA, vCenter Server appliances, and we will this vCenter Server appliance, this vCenter Server is also will also become the member of this techlabtechno.com. So what we will do, and now we will give the IP address of the ESXi host, that is 192.168.159.4, and the HTTPS port, we know that is port 43, and as it is a Linux machine, 159.4, that means the ESXi host is a Linux machine, so the administrator ID will be root, and the root password will be given here. So click on next, click yes, certificate for negative keys. Now we will assign a name of the vCenter server. Suppose we are using VCSA. Okay, and the root password will be, we have to set the root password for that also, because VCSA will be a Linux server. So the root password, it was asking for root password. Okay, so click on it. Basically, vCenter server will be installed in two parts. So here it is showing and the different type. I have already told you the different type of vCenter server environment. So we will continue with the tiny environment for our lab, and the storage size will be by default. It will take, I think, 22 GB will be the storage size. SAN it has taken. So the two types of storage is showing here. So we will take this SAN. Actually, it is a NFS share, and it is installed on a TrueNAS. Here the TrueNAS, it is installed on a TrueNAS, and the NFS service has been configured there, and NFS share is configured there, and that NFS share is mount is ESXi host. Okay, so I have selected that one, that data store. Click on next, and now the network will be VMnet network. IPv4 is the IP version. We will assign a static IP, and fully qualified domain name is optional, so we are not giving here the fully qualified domain name, and the IP address. If you want to give the fully qualified domain name, then it will be mentioned here vcsa.techlab.com. Okay, and the IP address is 192.168.159 dot say 40. Okay, so subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and the default gateway is 192.168.159.2. Next. Okay, the DNS server I need to give 192.168.159.28. Okay, click on next. So it is showing the at a glance the data store we have taken. First of all, the target ESXi host is 159.4, VM name VCSA, deployment size tiny, storage size default, data store we have used SAN, and thin. Why? Because there are two types of data store, thin and thick. So we have taken thin. What is the difference between thin and thick? That we will discuss later. IP settings is IPv4, and IP address 159.114 that we will assign. We have assigned as a static IP address. The host name will be vcs.techlab.techno.com. And this fully qualified domain name is to be configured in our DNS also, so that it can resolve the query. Okay, so click on finish. So basically, our vCenter server will be installed in two parts. One is stage 1 and one is stage 2. So stage 1 first, it will be installed the stage 1 vCenter server, and then after completion of stage 1, the stage 2 will be installed. So in between, what we can do, we can try to add the DNS post entry of this vCenter server. Okay, so TechLab Techno, right click on it. The name will be vcsa.techlab.techno.com. Okay, VCSA will be the here. IP address will be 192.168.159.40. Add host successfully created. Okay, done. And first lookup zone also we have to configure the same thing. So 190 new pointer will be created. Pointer record that is 14, and the host name will be Windows CSA. Okay, so allow. So thus we have already added the entry of vcsa.techlabtechno.com host in our DNS server. Okay, so now it will take a time, depending upon the hardware configuration of ESXi host, and it will take the time. And by that time, so we will jump into the next screen when the first stage 1 will be completed. Okay. So now the stage 1 has been completed successfully. So now we will proceed for stage 2. Okay. So click continue on it. it will start for stage 2 installation part. Okay, so click on next. The introduction. Installing the vCenter server is 2 stages. First stage has been completed. Click next. Proceed to stage 2, setting up the vCenter server. Next. So it is retrieving current settings. Okay. So time synchronization mode will be synchronized time with ESXi host. From NTP server, it is not required for us because the ESXi host, it will be installed on ESXi host server, and it will be synchronized with ESXi host time. SSH access is currently we are using it as disabled. Okay, when we will use highest availability, then in high availability, in that case we will install SSH. Okay, we will discuss later what is high availability. Okay, so click on next. Single sign-on domain name. Here you can, by default the name will be vSphere.local, but here we can use the domain name. So what is the domain name? VCSA. The domain name is techlabtechno.com, and single sign-on is administrator, is by default that, and the password will be domain administrator password. Okay, so click on next. Okay. Join the VMware Customer Experience Improvement Program. Okay, click on next. So the IP address, the host name is vcsatechlabtechno.com. The IP address is 192.168.159.14. Subnet mask 258.258.250. Gateway is 159.2. DNS server 159.12. Okay, and domain name is single sign-on. The domain name is techlabtechno.com. Okay, and username is administrator. Okay, so click on finish. You will not be able to pause or stop the install from completing once it is started. Click OK. So the setup is started now. It will take some time to complete the installation, stage 2 installation. Okay. And the single sign-on is an authentication. Just to discuss what is single sign-in. Single sign-on is an authentication scheme that allows a user to log in with a single ID to any of several related independent software systems. Okay, that means suppose you are creating one vCenter server and you are creating one within that vCenter server, you are creating one single sign-on authentication user ID, that is administrator, and we have set the password already. So within that vCenter server, the virtual number of virtual machines will be installed, and all virtual machines will have the same administrator ID and password with which you can install, with which you can log in into the virtual machines within that vCenter server. So that is single sign-on process. Again, I can repeat it here. I will write it here. Single sign-on is an authentication scheme that allows a user to log in with a single ID to any of several of several related yet independent sources VM waiting that party quota vCenter server. I will share this description in the link, okay, for your easy understanding. So what is the stage now? So it will take some time. So we will jump into the next screen when the stage 2 installation will be completed. Okay. So now the stage 2 of vCenter Server installation, vCenter Server Appliances installation is done, and that is the link. Here is the link, and the link is to open the VCSA technolab.com. Click on it, or you can copy the link. Here it is. It's opened already. So continue to this one. So first time it is opening, and it might take a little bit time to open the window. Okay. So our vCenter Server appliance is already installed. Okay. So here also you can open with that, or you can open in the process with the IP address also. Okay. So say the IP address is 192.168.14. Okay, 14. No? Here also you can open this one. Yes. So administrator activate VCSA administrator activate tech lab techno.com the password. The password. Because we are using a single sign-on. No? So we have assigned single sign-on as administrator at techlabdemo.com. So this time it will log in, and it will take a little bit time for that. Okay, what we will do now? We will close one tab just to make the process faster. Okay, so I think it will take, and that means our entire VCSA installation is done. So what we did first of all VMware ESXi 7. We have installed one ESXi host, and then we have installed one Windows 2000 server 2022 server with NAB, and we have installed a VCSA that means vCenter Server appliances on that particular Windows 2022 server, and the target of ESXi host was 115.4, that ESXi host, and we have installed the VCSA in two different stages, stage 1 and stage 2. First, we have installed stage 1, and then after that, we assigned the single sign-on, and we have assigned the host name, and we have created a host record of VCSA server in the DNS and database, and we have installed VCSA stage 1, and then after that we have installed stage 2, and then a link has been generated here, and this is the link, and ultimately we have installed VCSA. So first time, now it has come. We are through vSphere client. The first screen is going to open. Actually, it is taking a little bit time just for hardware constraint, because we are using it in a test environment. In a live environment, it will be very fast. Okay, so this is our center server console, web console. It will show the summary of the VCenter server. Okay, so here it is. Okay, the CPU, the memory, everything will be so the vCenter server version is 7, built version, this one it is showing. Okay, there is no cluster or no data center version is installed here till now, because it is a newly installed server. Okay, and so it is showing CPU version, sure. So monitor. These are the various options, host and clusters. We will install the various. We will add host on it, and there is a storage also. Storage means we have already assigned here the storage. It will show the storage and all these things. Data center, it will show the data center if you create the data center, and the host and the clusters if you create the host and clusters, and the VMs. You can create the virtual machines here also. Here are the data stores. Now it is not showing because we have to create a data store. We have to assign a data store here. Okay, so and the network. Okay, so that is the that's why in this process we will install VCSA on the Windows domain. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe my channel if you like my video.